Hello and welcome to the CougarCast here with Mr. Randall.
And I'm Mr. Sullivan.
All right, this podcast is a way to connect with us during your time in quarantine and to fill the gaping void created in all of us when you become the reclusive shut-ins that we've all become. Anyhow, what's new with you, Mr. Sullivan?
Not too much, man. Things have been good. Doing a lot of family time. Not leaving the house. I operated a grill for the first time in my life yesterday, so I
You're
feel
a grill
like
guy now.
a
You're a
real
grill
adult.
dad.
I am. Yeah, I made a bratwurst. It was fully cooked, and reviews were really, really good. How about you, man?
I guess the same. Not so much on the grilling aspect. I've been operating an oven and a stove. My wife lets me use one of those now.
So impressive. That's good.
That's very good, yeah. Well, my son, hang out with my wife, and not a whole lot else. Going on runs with my dog, just doing the same thing every day, and thought that maybe like that would create some sort of boredom in my life. No, I'm doing okay. How about you?
Yeah,
We're good.
absolutely, man.
We're good. Our next segment, which is the slang word of the week. What's your slang word of the week, Mr. Sullivan? Mr. Sullivan teaches me every week because I'm a somewhat older gentleman than him. He teaches me about the slang that the kids are saying. So go ahead this week. What is your word, Mr. Sullivan?
We're going to be talking about shade.
Okay.
I've been told by many students that I execute this slang word perfectly, and I thought I would let you know, since you're a dinosaur, that you can start using it with your students as well.
Okay.
Now, you may think that shade is a comparative darkness or coolness caused by shelter from direct sunlight, but no longer. That is how we used it growing up.
Yeah, get me some shade. I'm in Arizona heat. Lived in Arizona for 12 years. I need to be shaded.
Correct. That's the old time usage.
Okay.
You would fit in with the boomers with that kind of language. Now, a shade is a subtle, sneering expression of contempt for or disgust with someone. Sometimes it's verbal, sometimes it is not verbal. To use it in a sentence, wow, Mr. Sullivan, your insults are the dopest. You are great at throwing shade. Does that make sense to you?
It does. It does. So to throw shade at somebody would be to insult them in some way.
Yes, you throw it right at them.
All right.
Yes, that is correct.
So could you take like a CKHS staff member and throw some shade at them right now?
I would say, Mr. Randall, you didn't know what shade was because you're so old and you're a dinosaur. You might as well be a boomer. Shade thrown.
All right. I've received the shade, and I'll tell you what.
Yep.
Normally, I feel like being in shade is good, and it protects you from the sun's harmful rays. But now, I feel like the shade makes me feel inferior in some way.
Nope. You want to be in the sun now. You gotta get that vitamin D.
Getting that sun. All right. Very good. So what's
All right
next?
then.
All right.
Next segment of the day. We've decided to conduct a fantasy draft.
Okay.
We're participants in fantasy football. But instead of drafting fantasy football players, what we're going to do today is we're going to have a snake draft where we select different staff members at Central Kitsap High School and draft them to be in our fake rock bands. So we're going to try to create the greatest rock band that we can by alternating draft picks of Central Kitsap staff members and telling them, and we'll tell each other what we're going to have that staff member play in our band.
Got it.
Okay, I'm gonna pick first. You can have picks 2 and 3, and then we'll go back to me with my second pick after that.
The snake draft.
It's a snake draft method. That's correct. All right, my first pick. Really happy to be able to get the first pick in the 2020 CKHS Rock Band Fantasy Draft. Clear consensus, number 1 pick. I'm not going to go off the board here. I know that you would take him if I didn't. I'm going to be going with Mr. Coyer. Mr. Coyer is going to be on lead bagpipes for us. I really feel like the image of the band with Mr. Coyer as a front man on bagpipes in his kilt is really going to be what we're after. I select Mr. Coyer with my first pick.
Yeah, you could really bring it on the house. He's got that energy. He's got that Scottish-esque energy, I guess, that he brings. I appreciate that.
Now, be honest, would you have picked him had I not picked him?
I got getting 2 picks at the turn here. I would have definitely considered Mr. Coyer in the math department. Plus, he's got that math skill, so he could do some accounting.
That's true. He could also double as my band manager.
Right. Speaking of band managers, my first pick is Miss Devenich. Now,
nice one. That's a good one.
So I'm picking her to be a manager and a multi-instrumentalist. So here's the thing
qualified for that.
Yeah, well qualified. So Miss Devenich, she's all about the planners, all about the avid strategies,
Hmm.
So, you know, are you going to have problems remembering tour dates or missing practice gigs when you have your planner out and you're recording them in there and
I
you're
don't think
using
so.
those strategies? No. So, and I also think, you know, she juggles a lot of different things. Like, you know, she's been AP coordinator. She's done other things at the school. I can't think of right now, and I'm not going to waste my time on. But so I think
Okay.
she could also, she's used to juggling many different roles. So she could play like the glockenspiel in one song and the kazoo in another, you know?
Yes. So
Real
you got Miss
energy.
Devnich as a band manager on the Glock. Anything else that you have for her, she can do it. And you're never
Yeah,
going to miss another gig because you're going to have your planners.
right, exactly. And so that goes to my second pick, which is the first pick or the second round, whatever, would
Hmm.
be Miss Romano.
Ooh,
And
okay.
so I think Miss Romano would be awesome because she could vocalize, she could sing, and then she could also sign the lyrics. So she'd be a dual threat, as it were.
Concerts are going to be very inclusive now.
Yeah, well, you know, I think having that the lyrics being signed, I think would be really cool. Like, think about if you were watching Jay Inslee give his address and he was actually signing as he was talking. It'd be really cool.
The multi-threat, yeah, that's good. He had somebody signing next to him, but if he could do it himself, that would be better.
It would be awesome.
Then maybe you draft him in your rock band.
Right, exactly.
Not in this current status. All right, fair enough. I got two picks here. I can't believe they made it back to me. I'm going to go straight to the music department at CK High School.
Makes sense.
My back-to-back picks are going to be Mr. Woods and Miss Radenko. Mr. Woods is going to he's going to write all of our songs. I feel like he's qualified to do that. He sees lots of sheet music throughout the day, so I'm assuming he's going to be a songwriter of some kind. And he's also going to play drums. I've been told that in a band, it's important you have somebody that can actually keep a beat. And not exactly sure if anybody else that I'm going to have in my band can do that. But I
Right.
do feel like Mr. Woods can. So he's going to be on drums and he's going to write all of our songs. Miss Radenko is an obvious choice for lead vocals.
Hmm.
My lead vocalist will be better than yours now. I think that was a drop the ball pick on your part, not going with Miss Radenko.
Well, you know, I could see that, you know, but I tend to like think outside the box, you know. Think about like Radiohead. Tom York doesn't have classically beautiful vocals, but they're still, you know, they're still doing it and they're still making intricate music. You know, Neil Young, somebody you've admitted to be fond of, doesn't really have a great singing voice.
I'm going to say that your argument to our audience of high schoolers to think about Radiohead and Neil Young is going to fall flat, but we will see.
Yeah, well, low key boomer here. So next, we got to do. People don't know this, but we have an ad read for every week. So
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a sponsor here to fund our podcast.
right. So this week's ad is Bucklin Hill Hot Dogs. What can beat the taste of a delicious hot dog, Mr. Sullivan?
I don't know. What can?
Well, I'll tell you what. If the hot dog was a Bucklin Hill hot dog,
Oh, yep.
yeah. So their meat is locally sourced from Gorse Freeway Interchange Roadkill. So it's always a surprise what you get. And for a limited time, buy the CK dog, the special dog that has a chewy surprise. The CK dog, the only hot dog with gum inside. Get yours today.
Oh, so it's a double threat. You can have hot dog and gum.
You know, I don't really like listen to what I say. I just read the ad. What
Okay,
did
well,
Okay.
big thank you to Bucklin Hill Hot Dogs for funding our podcast today. Your sponsorship was very generous, and it allowed us to do this. So thank you very much.
Wait, I'm just reading a note here. It says work in ad in pod. Oh, we did that. We did that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
we worked in the ad.
ad. So that's how we get the money. So good. And actually, yes, you are right. The hot dog has gum inside.
Wonderful.
Sounds
Wonderful.
good. Two
Thank you,
foods
Bucklin Hill
together
Hot
at
Dogs.
last.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So
All right, back to the draft here. You got two picks here, your third and fourth picks for your rock band.
all right. So I'm gonna go with the paraeducator here. There's a lot of paraeducators I could choose from, but I think I'd go with Miss Audrey. She's
choice.
energetic, and if you've ever seen the Muppets, you know their band Animal famously plays the drums, and I think Miss Audrey would bring like a Muppets Animal energy to the drums. I think she'd be very.
She'd just get after it.
Yeah, she'd get after it. She'd go over the solos. You know, she'd go. You know, she'd go. She could do the tour, beating those drums. You know, she just wants to bang on her drum all day.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a good selection.
All right. So also I'm going to do Mr. Moore. Now, Mr. Moore, famously, at least with some of my students, I think have said that he's renowned to have a wide musical taste. It's very interesting. And I think that that would be a perfect choice for a lead guitarist and songwriter, since he has so many different influences.
That's not a bad selection. Fun fact: my dad was the supervising teacher when Mr. Moore was a student teacher.
Wow, there
How
you go.
about
So
that?
there's a connection there. There's a connection there. And I think,
Right.
like Mr. Moore, he's got a very like low key energy. You might need that with when you have a band with all these different personalities that I've already drafted. So I think Mr. Moore could be a calming influence on the band. But when he went out there, he'd have some real Pete Townsend energy. The Who, doing the windmills and stuff. So
Calming energy. He's your George Harrison, is what you're saying.
yeah, he's the quiet Beatle, or in this case,
Oh,
the quiet Randall.
the
The
Quiet
Randalls,
Randall.
the bands.
Yes,
Yes.
that's good.
You got
Okay,
two
fair
picks
enough.
here. Go ahead.
I am going to go with, I got two picks here. So my fourth and fifth pick, we already got Mr. Coyer and Woods and Rodenko. The really solid foundation for my band. I think what could really bring us home here is somebody on the piano or keyboard. I have no idea who can play piano or keyboard at the CK staff. So what I went with was Miss Hicks. I've seen her typing on a keyboard. Not this kind of keyboard, but typing on a keyboard. And her typing speed is incredible. I can only assume that translates to being able to play the piano. I'm going with Miss Hicks with my fourth pick.
Great pick. What do you got next, bud?
Fifth pick. I need a lead guitarist. I know of one staff member that actually has a guitar in his classroom. I assume, I will only hope that he knows how to play it if he has it in his classroom. I'm going to be going with Mr. Welkin with my fifth pick on lead guitar.
I like it. I like it. All right. So, and plus he kind of looks like he could be in a band.
I think he probably is in a band, and if he's not, then I'm happy to snatch him up.
There you go. He's in Broken Social Scene. No, that's also a reference kids won't understand. Never mind. All right. So I got two picks coming up here. My next pick, kind of running through the people I've already picked. I have Miss Devnich as a manager, plus multi-instrumentalist. Miss Romano, vocals. Miss Adrienne drums, and Mr. Moore, lead guitar songwriter. So now I need a bass player.
Getting a brief interruption from my son.
Cool.
Hey, buddy. Hi. Can you say hi? Can you say hi to Mr. Randall? Can you say hi? Say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right. All right. So with my next pick, I'm going to go ahead and take Miss Smallwood. I need a bass player. And I think she'd also provide some backing vocals. She seems like she'd lay down a good groove while also adding some sort of haunting ethereal vocals. So if you would think of like Kim Deal from the Pixies, another reference our students probably don't understand.
Really topical. Very topical,
Yeah.
yes.
I think she'd have that kind of energy. She'd provide a rhythmic backing, but also be able to elevate the members of the group through her backing vocals.
Very nice. That's our first administrator representative in the fantasy draft today.
Right, and then I got to say the straw that stirs the drink. My last pick. There's so many different ways I could go with this, but I'm gonna go with Big Rick.
Ooh, that's a value pick right there.
Value pick, very good. I'm surprised he fell this far. I think he would be a good producer. He's got that name Rick, so it kind of harkens Rick Rubin, the famous producer. But also, I kind of feel like he could have like a George Martin with the Beatles energy, where he would be, he'd almost operate as like the last member of the band, kind of guiding the direction of it. Maybe he could come in and play some piano. I'm sure he's a classically trained pianist in songs where they need that.
He is confirmed, 100% true.
Yeah. So last pick, Rick. So you got one more pick. Who you going?
That's a quality band that you have there. I think my last selection will really solidify that mine is better. But you did a good job trying.
Okay.
My last pick is actually going to be the one and only K-Mac. Looking for Mr. McCarthy. Trying to fill a spot. He's multi-talented. Trying to fill a spot in the band. There's really not one available in the band necessarily for him, but he will be a lead groupie for the band. Mr. McCarthy is a music aficionado. He has been known to meet many celebrities. Now he will meet us in our band as maybe the greatest celebrities that he's ever met. He will follow us on tour when it doesn't conflict with his Neil Young tour schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. McCarthy is my last pick as our lead groupie.
Nice. I really like it.
Thank you.
I really
Thank you
like
very
it.
much.
All right, so we're just about done here. We got one more segment. You want to take it away, Danny?
Sure. It's not as much a segment as it is just kind of a call to action here for you. Moving forward, what I would love to see happen is kind of like a Reddit-styled AMA for different staff members that we could bring on to interview them. So what I would love to see happen, if you could send me or Mr. Randall an email, let us know what staff member you would like to interview, that you would like us to interview, and maybe what questions you would like us to ask them. And then we will do our best to get them on for episode 2. And,
or questions they could ask us too, right?
Yeah, or us as well. That would be totally fine. But any kind of list of questions you would want to know about your staff members, and maybe a suggestion on who we can bring on the podcast next.
Right on. I like it. So please do that. Email us at our email addresses. So that would be, I'd be Eric R at ckschools.org, and you'd be
Daniel S.
Daniel S
at ckschools.org.
All right. So thank you for listening to the first episode of the CougarCast. I hope you stick around and listen to some more. Yeah, wash your hands.
Yes, and as always, wash your hands.
Yes, always. Yeah, that famous saying, wash